Today we're going to learn about solving multi-step equations with the distributive property and combining like terms. So if you notice here we have 5 steps. We're going to follow those 5 steps every single time we work out a problem. So the first step, do you see parentheses? If you see any parentheses, we're going to make sure that we distribute. Okay, remember the number on the outside, we're going to multiply times everything on the inside. So we're going to draw those arrows and we're always multiplying. Okay, after we've distributed, we no longer have any parentheses, then we're going to say, do we have any like terms? Remember, like terms have to have the same variable raised to the same power, or they could just be constants, so just numbers. All right, so we're going to look on each side of the equal sign. All right, so on each side, are there any that can be combined on the left? Are there any that can be combined on the right? Now, when we combine, we don't do the opposite. Okay, so if it says 7 plus 5, we're going to do 7 plus 5. We only do the opposite when we're moving from one side to the other. Okay. Step 3, do you see a variable on both sides of the equal sign? If there is a variable on both sides, then we're going to move it. Okay, to move it, remember we're going to do the opposite. So if it says plus 5, I'm going to do minus 5. If it says minus 7, I'm going to do plus 7. Okay, do the opposite or the inverse to cancel it out. The fourth step, is there a constant on the same side as the variable? So I'm looking, if I've got just a number on that same side as my variable, my letter, then I've got to move it. Okay, I've got to do the inverse. I've got to add it if it says minus. I've got to subtract it if it says plus. Last step, number 5, is there a number with the variable? So what I mean by that is there's something like 3x, okay, or x divided by 2. To undo that, remember it's just a one-step equation. I'm going to multiply or divide by the number depending on what they tell me from the beginning. All right, let's work through a problem together. All right, so we've got 2 times 3x minus 3 in parentheses equals 9x plus 9. First thing, I want you to go ahead, draw that line through your equal sign. Okay, get in that habit. I see that I've got parentheses, so first step, I need to distribute. So make sure you draw those arrows. Remember, we're going to multiply when we distribute. So 2 times 3x gives me a 6x. 2 times negative 3 gives me a minus 6 or a negative 6. Equal sign is going to stay on the line. And then on the right-hand side, I don't have any parentheses, so I'm just going to write it down exactly how it looks, 9x plus 9. Now, I'm checking each side to see, do I have anything that I can combine, any terms that I can combine. So on the left-hand side, we've got a 6x, and we've got a minus 6. So we've got a variable and a constant. I cannot combine those. On the right-hand side, we've got a 9x, and we've got a 9. One has an x, one doesn't. Again, I can't combine those. So we can go ahead and jump to step number 3. All right, step number 3 says if I have a variable on both sides, I want to move one of them. So let's go ahead, just like we did in the lessons from earlier in the week. I'm looking at my x terms. I've got a 6 on the left and 9 on the right, so I'm going to put my variables on the left, constants on the right. So I need to move this 6x. Okay, to move it, it's positive. We're going to subtract 6x. Make sure you line up those x values. Okay. 6x minus 6x is just 0. Bring down my negative 6 or minus 6. Equal sign stays on the line. 9x minus 6x gives me 3x. And then I'm going to bring down my plus 9. From here, we just have a two-step equation. So the next step, the fourth step, do I have anything being added or subtracted on the same side as my variable? I do. I've got a plus 9. So we've got to cancel that out. Minus 9 on both sides. All right, when I do that, negative 6 minus 9 gives me negative 15. My 9's cancel, and I'm left with a 3x. Last step, the fifth step, says to multiply or divide. In this case, I see multiplication, so I'm going to divide by 3. So my answer, 15 divided by 3 is negative 5 equals x. So this is going to be my answer. X equals negative 5. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, first thing, let's start by distributing. All right, so I see that I can take this 4 to the 2y and the 5. I can take my 3 to the 3y and the negative 6. Again, make sure we fill in that line. All right, so distributing 4 times 2y gives me 8y. 4 times 5, positive 20. Equal sign on the line. 3 times 3y is 9y. 3 times negative 6, negative 18. At this point, we can go ahead and decide which side our variables should go on, which side our constants should go on. So I see an 8y and a 9y, so I'm going to put my variables on the right-hand side and my constants on the left. So very similar to the last one, I need to cancel out my 8y. To do that, I'm going to subtract it. What I do to one side, I have to be fair and do to the other. 8y minus 8y cancels. I bring down positive 20. Equal sign on the line. 9y minus 8y is just 1y. And I bring down my minus 18. All right. Third step. All right. Sorry, this would be the fourth step actually. I've got my 1y. I need to move this minus 18 because it's on the same side. So to do that, I'm going to do plus 18. Both sides. That's going to give me 38 on the left equals 1y. You can divide by 1. Dividing by 1 does not change anything. So if we want to do that, we can. Divide by 1, divide by 1. I just get 38 equals y. We did not do the second step because all I had was one variable term and one constant on each side. All right, let's take a look at the third problem. All right, on the left-hand side, I don't have anything I can do. I don't see any parentheses or any like terms. However, on the right-hand side, we can distribute this. Okay, so let's see. Whoops. All right, drawing those arrows. So my left-hand side is going to stay the same. 16 minus 8f equals, on the right-hand side, we've got a 12. All right, now keep in mind that's going to be a negative 3. So negative 3 times 2f gives me negative 6f. Negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. Now, in this case, I'm at step number 2. I can combine like terms. On the left-hand side, I've just got a constant and a variable, so we're good there. On the right-hand side, I've got a constant, a variable, and a constant. So we can actually go ahead and combine those. All right, so I'm leaving my 16 minus 8f on the left. On the right-hand side, 12 minus 6 leaves us with just 6, and then minus 6f. All right, so we've got to decide which side should our variables go on, which side should our constants go on. Negative 6 is actually smaller than negative 8, so I'm going to say variables on the left, constants, on the right, constants on the left. So I need to move this negative 8f. To do that, we're going to add 8f. So on the left-hand side, I bring down my 16. My f's have canceled. I bring down the 6. Negative 6f plus 8f is just a positive 2f. All right. From here, I can go ahead and move this 6. Remember, anything that's on the same side as my variable. So this is step number 4. It's a positive 6, so I want to subtract 6. 16 minus 6 gives me 10. My 6's cancel, and I have a 2f. My last step, I'm going to actually divide by 2 because it's being multiplied. So I get 5 equals f for my answer there. 5 equals f. Last problem, and I've made it pretty difficult. So we've got lots of things to work out here. First of all, make sure you give our line, separating our sides. Let's go ahead and deal with this left-hand side. So I see I've got parentheses. I know I can distribute. So I want to take that negative 2 to the 9f and the negative 40. I am not taking the negative 2 to the 11h because it's not in parentheses. Okay, so negative 2 times 9h gives me negative 18h. Negative 2 times negative 40 plus 80. And then I've got plus 11h. Equals, on the right-hand side, I've got 79. And I need to distribute this negative 4. Negative 4 times 3h gives me negative 12h. Negative 4 times negative 14 gives us positive 56. All right, now we've got some like terms we can deal with. On this left-hand side, I've got a negative 18h and I've got a positive 11h. On the right-hand side, let's see, on the right-hand side we've got 79 and a positive 56 we can combine. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So on the left, negative 18h plus 11h is just negative 7h. We still have our plus 80. On the right-hand side, we want to do 79 plus 56, which gives us 135. And then we still have our minus 12h. All right, now we've got variables on both sides, so we're at step 3. We've got to decide which side do we want variables, which side do we want constants. So I've got a negative 7 and a negative 12h. So I'm going to make my variables on the left, my constants on the right. So let's go ahead and move this negative 12 or minus 12h. To do that, we're going to add 12h. Make sure again that you're lining up your h's. Negative 7h plus 12h is going to be a positive 5h plus 80 equals. My 12h's are going to cancel there. I've got a positive and a negative. And then I've got 135 on the right. This is now a two-step equation. So to solve this, we need to move that plus 80. So subtract 80 on both sides. On the left-hand side, that's just going to leave me with the 5h. My 80's cancel. On the right-hand side, 135 minus 80 gives me 55. All right, my last step, I'm going to want to solve this. So to do that, I'm going to divide both sides by 5, that fifth step. And I'm going to get h equals 11. 55 divided by 5 would be 11. All right, for your assignment, take the textbook out from under your desk. We're going to complete page 247, 1 through 6. Make sure you show me all of your work. The only way to get full credit for this is to show me all of your work. I will actually provide you with the answers so that you know as you're working through these whether you're getting them correct or not. Okay, but remember, you've got to show me your steps. You've got to show me your work.